Welcome to the Embracing Neurodiversity podcast, where I share my journey of embracing the experience of my amazing son who is on the spectrum. I am Ivory, a mother, educator, and personal growth enthusiast. My goal is to offer insight and stories that may inspire you on your own parenting journey. Thank you for tuning in.
Everybody, welcome back. How are you? I hope everyone is doing well. I hope that your week is going well, that it feels productive and restful and peaceful for you. It certainly has for me. Thankfully, I found my groove, but fall is always my time of year's love. It maybe because, and I think I've said this before, but probably because I've worked in the school system for so long that fall always felt like new beginnings. It felt like a reset. It felt like, let's try this again. But also the fall, the crisp weather and the leaves changing. And I actually do like my pumpkin spice. I'm not a white lady, but I like my pumpkin spice. So these things kind of give me good vibes, good energy. So I actually enjoy this time of the year. And I hope you're finding some level of joy in it as well. I was inspired by the last episode we did around when I told you all the story about Khalil going missing. I'm still talking about it. It gives me. But anyway, and I had me thinking a lot about this idea between keeping your child safe, but also building independence and how we grapple with that as parents of children on the autism spectrum, right? And it's very difficult for us because if your child, and I recognize, and I always try to recognize on every episode that every child is different and where they are on the spectrum is different. Every child has their own strengths and their own areas of growth. Khalil is a very independent child for the most part, but then he still has areas where he has to think logically. He hasn't yet thought logically about safety or, what is right or wrong in terms of minimizing safety. And he's 7. Of course, he's on the autism spectrum, but he's 7. But with that, I want to recognize that every parent is different and every child is different. And so what I'm discussing is mostly through the vantage point of my experience with Khalil in hopes that someone else can relate. But I don't want to impose upon anyone anything that doesn't fit their child's experience or their lifestyle, right? So that's always going to be the disclaimer every time we do a video. I want to name that. But for those who have children who are independent in addition to being on the autism spectrum, there's always this grappling with how do I, keep them safe, but then also honor their independence. How do I ensure that they are growing in their independence? Because ultimately you do want them to become an adult and take care of themselves if possible. And the only way to do that is to cultivate those skills over time, those independent life skills over time. But how do you do that while ensuring safety, right? Just like the scenario I gave in the last episode where I want Khalil to run and explore. I think life is about exploring and experiencing things. But in doing that and kind of giving him that space to do that, he kind of, took the opportunity to go explore a little bit more and was gone for 5 minutes. And so I had to reel back some, but I was committed to not completely stripping him of his independence. What I thought about being, okay, you're going to stay in the house and you're not going outside. Or you're going to go outside, but only in the backyard and only when I see you. Of course, honestly, we go outside, we go in the backyard. And I still keep parameters around how far he can go in terms of navigating the neighborhood. But he doesn't go far without me with him for now, right? Until I can observe that he is ready and mature enough again to go a little bit further outside of the parameters that I'm comfortable with. But with that, there are some other things, day-to-day life skills and independent skills that we want to instill in our children over time to ensure that one day, in alignment to this scenario that happened with Khalil, so that in time one day, he could go outside and play. He could go around the corner and play, and then he could come back home and it's not as of a concern, right? So, and how do we do that? How do we do that? And so I kept thinking about that as I was preparing after last episode and preparing for the next episode. I was like, I want to talk more about how do you build those independent skills for children who are ready and capable, right? And so, of course, I like to do my research, and then I like to apply that research to my own lived experience. And so I, in doing my research and saw the common themes and thinking about my own experience of what I know to be true based on what I've seen, how Khalil thrive, what I've seen Khalil thrive in and what I've seen him resist. I wanted to offer you some strategies on how to provide autonomy and independence for your child, right? How to, this idea of autonomy versus control and building independence, right? Part of parenting our children is that we kind of, and then depend on your level, your own upbringing and your level of, I hate to use that word so loosely, but based on your own lived experience as a parent, it really does inform how you engage with your child and how you hold the reins in and how much you want to control and how much you're willing to release, right? But what I do know to be true about all child development is that it is their journey and we are here to guide them. We are not here to keep them in a box, right? But particularly for our children, because society is not set up in a way to ensure their safety, we are responsible for doing that. But how do we do it in a way that still cultivates independence, right? So here are some ways that I have done it and I've seen work, even though, keep in mind, because I mentioned this in the last episode, you can do all the things. Sometimes things happen, right? And we learn from it and we keep going. But that's not to say that you don't incorporate the strategies, right? And that's not to say that you don't keep trying. So these are the things that I've done that I've seen work really well so far in terms of creating that independence and letting go of that control. And so one of the things is visuals. You've probably heard before, many people in this field and just in education and parenting field in general have mentioned this, that visuals are incredibly helpful and useful. I have seen it work for Khalil. I have a graph on our refrigerator that shows the weekly schedule with pictures of like what to expect. So he runs over to it and he points to what he knows is going to happen or what he wants to do. And then we also have in his room a Velcro chart where he can move the different, I'm thinking about getting them to show y'all. But anyway, move the different images on. So I'll have Monday is at the top of his Velcro chart, and then things that he needs to do in the morning: brush teeth, wash face, eat breakfast, clothes on, shoes, backpack, school. We have pictures with that, and so he'll move it from like first to then, and always going back to him. Okay, what's next? He'll go and look, and then the other beautiful thing about him knowing what to expect based on the visual is that he verbalizes it too. So it helps with not only independence, but it helps with communication. And of course, every human being it feels incredibly safe to know what to expect from your day, right? And so those visuals allow for that. So visuals. You probably heard it a million times. You're probably going to hear it a million more times because they are incredibly impactful. That's one way to build independence at the base level, right? The second one is to offer choices. Much of my parenting is the parenting that I've had to learn. A lot of it came naturally to me because I see the value in it in terms of they are our children, but they are human beings and they have their own emotions and feelings and thoughts and ideas. And it's not for me as a parent to impose that on them, even our children on the spectrum. So I've always fundamentally believed that, right? But sometimes as parents, we get used to telling our kids what they need to do, what they should do, in that way. But what I know to be true is that offering choices to your children helps set them up to be able to make decisions for themselves one day. And so offering choices is another way to slowly release control and provide autonomy for your child. And so you can start small, right, with options in terms of snacks or food, right? And so do you want a banana or do you want an apple? Do you want apple juice or do you want water, right? Giving them those options. This also helps for our nonverbal children to help increase their language. And it also helps their critical thinking skills, right? Because then they're thinking about what actually do I like? What are my taste buds telling me? So it's impactful in a way to act, to provide options, right? Simple first in terms of snacks. And then you can go to clothes. Do you want to wear this shirt or this shirt? I'm in the phase now where I'm allowing Khalil to dress himself. We made so much progress in that area now that he's in second grade now, and the morning we have our routine, obviously, as I just explained. And in the past years, I would help him get dressed because, there's still some fine motor skills that he's building in terms of buttons and, putting your clothes on properly. It was a work in progress. But this year, honey, I could put his clothes out and he puts them on. Now, sometimes he may put things on backwards, and that's okay because I just show him. Well, it was on backwards. Let me show you. The tag goes in the back, and then we, redo it. But yeah, giving space but I said to say, one of the things you could give them a choice of if your child is invested in it is what they want to wear. You want to wear the red shirt or the blue shirt, and allow them to choose. If they don't, then you can choose, right? And then giving them options to put it on first before you dress them, give them the option to dress themselves, even at a younger age, right? 2 or 3 years old, you can do that. And if they struggle, then you step in and help, right? But give them the option first. Also, problem solving. As you all know, I got to look at my notes, so I'm looking to the right some. But the problem solving piece is critical because we all need that skill set. And you can start small with your child. And so if a toy is broken, my child's toys break often because he's very rough with them and he wants you to fix it. And so, or opening a bag of chips or a bottle of water, these are small problem solving skills that my child is prone to coming to me to ask to do in the immediate. But when I know that he has the capacity or when I know that he's capable of doing it, then I'll say, you do it, and let him try first. And if he is struggling, then I step in and I show him, right? Always do that first when it's something that is in the lotus of their capabilities. And you know that as a parent when you observe, right? The fourth one is setting those clear and achievable goals. I think that it's really important that, and I've mentioned this before, you have a plan for the trajectory of your life and your child's life. And then with having that plan, whether it's a 1-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, you should always have all three. Within those plans, you breaking it down of what do I need to do month by month, week by week, day by day to accomplish that goal. That 1-year goal, that 5-year goal, that 10-year goal. And when it comes to your child and their independence, there should always be a goal around and their independence always, right? What do you want them to do over time? What are they struggling with now that you want them to get better at over time? So last year, I was helping Khalil get dressed, and I was just, this is not sitting well with me. I want him to be able to dress himself, right? So that I can go get myself ready for the day as well. So we got to work together. So you got to start not doing it for him. You got to give it to him to do, right? And no matter if it takes him longer than time allows, then you wake him up a little bit earlier. And so I knew last year was going to be the last year that I was going to be getting him dressed. That I was going to make him dress himself. And so for the summer, I started to allow him to do that. And, he caught on. And so that was a goal, right? That I set and that we achieved. The other was around brushing his teeth, right? I would do it for him first, and then I'll give it to him to emulate and copy me. Those are the things that over time you want to give them rope to do, little by little. We're working on independent bathing right now and what that looks like. Little by little, you're feeding. It's our natural inclination to jump in and do it, especially when time is, we're the time crunch, but that means that we got to be more disciplined to step back and create time so that they can build those skills. They are capable of doing it. We just got to get out of their way a lot of the time. So setting those achievable goals, and they can start small. Brushing your teeth, getting dressed are possible. You got to get out of their way. You got to show them, allow them to do it, give them room to make mistakes, be patient and gentle when they make a mistake, and show them how to do it again, and give them an opportunity to try again. Wash, rinse, repeat. Allow them to do it. When they make a mistake, tell them it's okay. Show them again, allow them to do it until they get it right. Lastly, promoting self-help skills. So focusing on basic self-care and life skills builds the foundation for future independence and self-reliance. So teaching self-care tasks like dressing, grooming, preparing simple snacks. Use clear instruction and visual aids. Start with small tasks like putting shoes on, celebrating. And so lastly, I'm always going to promote this when it comes to building those independent autonomy skills. When you have created the visual and you see that they are leaning into that visual by naming what the next step is and by following the directions that's in that visual, give them praise, celebrate that. When you see that they have solved a problem that they initially came to you for, but then they did it themselves, give them praise, celebrate that. When you see that they have achieved a goal that you set for them, like getting themselves dressed or brushing their teeth independently, celebrate that. Give them praise for that. We know, as in our own experience, when people praise us and give us for the things that we've done, we are more prone to do it again and again and again. And then we have the confidence to try a new skill, right? So that's the last piece, is that praise them along the way. And when they make a mistake, it's okay. It's okay. Because this is a journey and it is a marathon. There is no timeline on it at all. So with that, I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that you take care of yourself this week and the weeks moving forward. Until next time.